All right.
Oh, family, I am so ready. What are you doing? That is the Michael Myers mask for Halloween, man. We're doing the Scream review. I sent you an email with the costume.
I'm sorry, I won't use the mask again.
Oh my God.
I'll use the Scream mask.
This is so not freaking awesome, man. What are you doing? Oh. Alright, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. Scream stars Naomi Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, and is directed by Wes Craven.
Dave, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, hey Lee, what's up? What's up, buddy?
You really took that mask thing to heart, didn't you?
All right, I sent you a freaking email about the costume. We didn't get the costume right. And I got the Drumdums t-shirt. All right, I'm running the show.
Well, this is my Scream review. You get your own damn Scream review. Scream stars Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, Skeet Ulrich, and tons of others, and is directed by the master Wes Craven. Guys, before I get into this review, I just want to say thank you. This is for you guys. I get a lot of requests, and the movie that I get requested the most is really Scream. The one that comes close to Scream is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've gotten requests for those two movies so often that recently I said, hey, I'll let you guys decide between the two. And of course you decided Scream, so here we are. But first, I just want to say thank you so much that you even care, that you even take the time out of your day to even watch my reviews, let alone request me to review something. And I'm excited because we're reviewing Scream, and Scream is really a landmark slasher film. Now, Scream came out in 1996, and I say for almost a decade before that, the horror genre was pretty much dead, especially the slasher genre. Even the big three, Michael, Freddy, and Jason, their later movies were not doing great at the box office at all. They were pretty much failures. So the slasher genre was pretty much put to bed for quite a few years. Nobody wanted to touch slasher genres. And then all of a sudden this script started floating around, and still it wasn't like every Hollywood producer had to get their hands on it. It wasn't like that at all. But it was a good script, and it did attract some attention. And I think if the script wasn't as good as it was, then we would have never had Scream, and the slasher genre, it would have came back, but it probably wouldn't have come back in 96. It probably would have been a few more years later. It really took something great, something special to get the horror genre the swift kick that it needed right in the ass. And that's what Scream did. So let's talk about this movie. So essentially Scream is a whodunit. There is a killer going around Woodsboro, and he is hacking up teenagers left and right. And really they don't give you a reason why he's doing this until at the end of the movie. But what's really cool about this killer is he references classic horror movies. And this is something that had never really been done in movies before.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
Halloween.
So throughout the movie, there's this huge sense of paranoia because nobody knows who is going around picking off these teenagers one by one. There's no real motive as to why. And so nobody feels safe. Everybody feels like I could be next. All they know is that he is killing in a teenage demographic. Now, first thing I want to talk about is that first scene, that opening scene, because it is significant. It is a really, really awesome ass-kicking scene. Drew Barrymore was offered the role of Sidney Prescott in this movie, and she said she didn't want it. She actually wanted to play the opening girl. They even used Drew Barrymore's face on the poster art. You thought that Drew Barrymore was going to be alive through the whole movie. So once she dies at the end of that scene, it really throws the viewer off balance. And this movie could go anywhere. But what's cool about Drew Barrymore is before she even took this movie, she knew what was going on in the horror genre. She had a feeling that slasher movies were going to come back, horror was going to come back. And that's why she took this role. That's why she said, I want to play the first person to die in this movie. It will just make the movie that much more captivating. But that scene is just so frantic. It's funny at times, but yet it is terrifying at others. That's what's so great about Scream. It knows that balance. I've talked about comedy in horror movies before and how it can work and it can't work. And I'm looking at you later sequels of Nightmare on Elm Street. Scream could make you laugh your ass off, but still be on edge. And the killer does that by feeding you information that you already know. What's your favorite scary movie? Everybody says, what's your favorite scary movie? He gives pop culture references. So you were in this situation with Drew Barrymore's character because you can relate to everything that the killer is saying and you can relate to what she's going through. Another thing that is so great about Scream is the cast. This might be the strongest cast I have ever seen in a slasher movie, including Halloween. All the characters are really cast to type and they are just perfect. This movie doesn't have one strong female. It has two. It has Gale Weathers and it has Sidney Prescott. But they're very different types of characters and they constantly butt heads. And that juxtaposition between these two characters constantly keeps you interested. Also, David Arquette as the idiot cop Stu. This is the character that could have went the wrong direction, could have been annoying, but he wasn't annoying at all. He had a really lovable quality to him, and I thought David Arquette really played him very well because you cared about his character. And then finally, Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich. I thought they were just excellent. Matthew Lillard is the comic relief of this movie. I mean, there are a lot of funny moments in this movie, but Matthew Lillard, I mean, he kicks it up to another level.
Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back.
And there are scenes in this movie with him that I was literally gut laughing. He is that funny.
Do you think Sid would go out with me?
No, I don't at all. No.
And then Skeet Ulrich, on the other hand, who plays his best friend, is the complete opposite of Matthew Lillard's character. He looks a lot like Johnny Depp, even acts like Johnny Depp, but you could see a really dark side to him, a really dark edge to him. And what I like about his character is there's this constant tug of war between him and Sidney, because there are times when you think he could be the killer, and then there are times when you think, oh, he's not the killer. But that's one thing I love about this movie, is it keeps you guessing constantly. And really, anybody is up for grabs. Anybody could be the killer in this movie. They don't zero in on one person. Most of the time when you're watching whodunits, you can usually figure out who the killer is. But I gotta admit, when I saw this movie for the first time in the theater, I was surprised by who the killer was. And finally, I gotta talk about Wes Craven, the master. Craven's career was kind of going downhill before Scream came along. As a matter of fact, he even turned down the job of directing this movie. And then he was at one of the conventions and one of the fans actually asked him, hey, your latest movies haven't been that good. When are you going to put out something great again? And that's really what gave him the kick in the ass that he needed to get back behind the director's chair and direct a really good horror movie. And he just nails it in Scream. He does such a great job directing this movie. And before I go, I definitely want to talk about Ghostface for a second. I believe Ghostface is an icon. He definitely is an icon. And he's not something that I've really mentioned in the past, but there is Michael, there's Freddy, and there's Jason. But I think for the 90s, Ghostface is the icon. Ghostface pretty much ruled the 90s. And what's cool about Ghostface is you have no idea from movie to movie who is behind that mask. And the guy that played the voice of Ghostface has never really shown himself in the public, and that just makes him that much creepier because that voice is just unmistakable.
Do you like scary movies, Sydney?
I like that thing you're doing with your voice, Randy. It's sexy.
And it really just gets under your skin, and I think if they would have went with a different voice, it could have went the other way. So guys, I have to give Scream a Trapped on an Island. It really reinvented the genre. It brought horror back in a big way, and if it wasn't as great a movie as it is, then the horror genre might have been dead for a long time. As a matter of fact, it was one of those movies that when it came out, it didn't do that great at the box office, but then it just started building and building and building because of word of mouth. Everybody was talking about Scream when it came out. So much so that it spawned 3 sequels, and we'll get into those later. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on Scream? I really, really enjoy this movie. And to those Texas Chainsaw Massacre fans, that will be my next horror review. Of course, I'm going to do Civil War this weekend, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre is definitely coming next, and then I'll jump back over to the rest of the Scream franchise. But anyway, guys, I had so much fun going over Scream with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all that you guys do for my channel. And you guys really just give me that motivation, that gusto that I need to just keep doing this, because it's not always easy. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And thank you to Rant Cinema and Drumdum out.